is a primary aspect in human life and their own history. Knowledge is used every day in every single thing that we do. And such human has tried to find a way, the best way for us to actually gain knowledge and improve our own knowledge. One of those ways is actually by humans making an educational system. In this present time, the most commonly and globally used educational system is by grouping students based on their age. But this essentially also made that another system which is called a mixed ability class system. By definition, this means that each classes has their own students, with every single one having different abilities and different talents and different intelligence and competency. This actually causes a lot of problems for the students and for the teachers itself. For the students, one of the main problems is that students will not all be improving at the same rate. Some students will probably improve at a faster rate, but this doesn't mean that every single student will do. Some students will actually be improving at a slower rate, or some will actually not improve at all. And this actually causes a fairness in our educational systems, because not each and every single student have the same chances to improve. This also troubles the teacher, because they need to find the best way to actually bring the material for each different ability students. Then this is very hard thing to do, because every single classes have their own different ability students, and this causes an increased workload on the teacher, which burdens the teacher. We say that it's a better way for us to group students not based on their age, but based on their competency and intelligence on a specific subject, in their specific subject. And such there are multiple classes for every single subject, and we group those students based on their abilities in those specific subjects. But why does we say that it is better that way? This brings me to my first argument, which it is solving the problem with the mixed ability class. As I said earlier, the mixed ability class main problem is that not all of them will be improving at the same rate, or some will not improve at all. With our system, this actually cancels out the problem itself, because in every single classes that is grouped, where the student is grouped by their intelligence and competency, teacher will be able to give them the best materials they need to improve their own paces. Now, this actually helps them to grow more fairly and more distributed. And this actually also decreases the workload and the burden for the teacher itself, by the teacher only having to search for that specific knowledge, the specific way to improve the students in that specific abilities. And such teacher doesn't need to find different or actually nurture every single student in a different way, and they could just group them off and teach those groups based on how they would, with below average, average, and above average capabilities of a student. Now, this also brings me to my second argument, which this system actually improves talents and all students' studies more effectively. Why do I say that? Each student has their own learning paces. In every single different abilities class and different ability of a student, they all have their own learning paces. And this learning paces actually contributes to how much they actually will learn and how they will actually improve. Some students will have a slower learning paces than others, or some have a faster learning paces than others. And by grouping them based on their competency and intelligence, we can actually solve this learning pacing problem by just grouping them based on their competency and intelligence. Because learning pace is directly connected to their competency and intelligence. And such, if we group them that way, they will be improving at a much faster rate, because they are being nurtured correctly with their own learning paces that fits their own studying style. And this provides all the students with the correct nurture for their own talents and for them to improve even more in the future. Now, some may say that our system actually causes some social problems between the students, that the students will act all highty and mighty with their pride as above average students, or acting insecure as a below average students. But in our system, we already solved that, because this system, which groups them based on their specific intelligence and competency in specific subjects, make them having a different class, which make them basically a moving class. And such, in each classes, in each specific subjects, they will be grouped with different students. And such, this brings me to my third argument, which this actually doesn't break any social problem. This actually doesn't break social connection between students, but it's actually improving the connection between students. Because in our system, every single classes has different students for their own abilities as well. And so these specific students will all move in their own ability in this specific subject. One may have a below average ability in this subject, but one may have a different class because they have a higher ability in that specific subject. And so they will be grouped with different students, and this helps them to be more social with other students as well. And this already cancels the social problem with students actually breaking the connections with the lower ability students or higher ability students. And this actually helps the students connect more rather than they actually breaking the connection. This also could help the students itself to improve their motivation in studies, because they have more friends to actually be relating with in that specific subject. And they will be meeting with different such people. This also causes them to have an improved healthy competition in that specific ability in their intelligence and competency classes, because they will be not intimidated by a higher ability students that are boasting their actual abilities. And this will actually help them all improve, which helps them to nurture their own talents. And even if there are still students that have the social problems, the school will actually provide a way for the students to actually connect outside of the studies and academically. Schools will need to provide what is known extracurricular, and that will help the student itself to connect more with each other and solve this social problem. That is all for my arguments, and that is all for my debate today. Thank you very much.